SEO this week. Hey, I'm back. So this week we got a new game in town for backlink analysis, English only product review updates, the December 27th, 28th update, Google's limit on long HTML pages, and soft 404 errors de-indexing your content. All this and more coming up on the first episode of SEO this week, version 2. Welcome back.
You're born with a gift. If not that, then you get good at something along the way. And what you're good at, you don't take for granted. You don't betray it.
What if you do betray your gift?
And you betray yourself.
For far too long, you've been holding yourself back. It's just time for you to walk with purpose. It's time for you to walk into your gift. It's time for you to live your best life.
We're gonna make mistakes. You gotta own them. Then you gotta make amends. And then you gotta move on. So turn the page, get off the ride. You are the author of the book of your life. Turn that page.
The only person you're destined to become is the person you decide to be.
You never made a mistake, it means you never tried. If you never tried, it means you never took a chance. And if you never took a chance, you never believed in yourself, you never had faith. We need faith, you need to believe in yourself. And it doesn't matter how many times you failed. What matters is you keep getting up every day and trying again. And that's what really is important, in knowing that each day you have an opportunity to change.
But I want to give you a new word for change, and that word is evolution. And you are either going to evolve or expire. See, everything changes. The economy changes, relationship changes. We change mentally and emotionally and physically, and you are either dying or you are either living.
Life always offers you a second chance. You know what it's called? Tomorrow.
See change as growth. See change as transformation. See change as evolution. Your history is not your destiny.
You can't get it because you want it. If you put in the work, they can't deny you. If you put in the work, they can't stop you.
Don't you realize that you are enough? Don't you realize that you are special? Don't you realize you were put in for a reason? Because you were born to prosper.
Be great. Pursue your own version of happiness.
It's wrapped in your capacity, your ability to believe in a dream, even if nobody believes in you.
All right, as I said, welcome to episode number 1 of SEO This Week, version 2. We're messing around with formats and all that other stuff and thinking about what's going on and the competition for SEO shows. And I thought it was time for me to change things up a little bit to make this show, I don't know, it's kind of more enjoyable for me. I mean, I want to do something that I want to do, you know what I mean? So first change, obviously, is the new time. Mondays at 8 a.m. Arizona time. That's important because Arizona time does not change with daylight savings time and all that stuff. So 8 a.m. is 7 a.m. in California, and I think it's like 11 or 12 on the East Coast. It kind of all works out, and you're not competing with all these other shows that are doing stuff on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and all that stuff. So that's number 1. That's awesome. Number 2 is I actually started a new website to go along with the show. If you are a older version, version 1 viewer / listener, you know that I did the show and I put all the episodes on digitaleer.com. I mean, it's all fine and dandy, but I wanted to have a website unique to SEO this week. So Dory Friend actually managed to buy SEOthisweek.com. and she was holding on to it, and she gave it to me, and I turned it into a website. So that's going to be it's going to be a project for SEO this week. And what I mean by that is we're going to use it as a learning tool, and then you kind of follow along, and I'll show you the things I do with it and where we're going with it, and we'll get to watch it grow together, and all that stuff. So there's the learning aspect, like some ideas that we can do, and you'll actually see me applying stuff live on the websites. And then number 3, we're going to do the news. We're going to do a little bit of spin on it. So if you know that, when I was doing the news before, I'd kind of give my input and my ideas and my thoughts and stuff. However, what wasn't happening is we weren't kind of proving it, kind of testing it all out, right? So that's what we want to make sure that we're going to start doing. So let me do this. I want to give you a tour of the new site. So let me switch the screens to there. There we go. And as you can see, it's nothing spectacular. I mean, I'm not going to win any design awards off of this website, but it is built with Oxygen. And I built it the way that I did on kind of on purpose. So I want it to be news. So I found a theme, essentially I found a theme. It's called Newspaper. It's not the Newspaper X, the fancy one. It's called Newspaper. It's an older one. It was designed to look exactly like a newspaper. With fonts the same and all that stuff. And I took ideas off of that, and then I built my own version using Oxygen. So now you have some background in there, and we'll get more into that and playing around with building it in Oxygen and stuff as the show progresses, because I'm going to do tons of edits to this thing, and we'll work on monetization together and all that stuff. But one of the goals is to publish one article a day. Now, as you know, the news, there's all kinds of air quotes, news and changes and updates and stuff like that. So if Google puts out something new, I probably will do more than one article a day, but the end goal is to do one article a day. And then down here, we're going to do the featured stories. And what's going to happen is how this is going to be kind of unique. I am going to test something from any given week. So we have 5 stories. I'm going to pick one, and we're going to conduct a test, whether that be in a single variable format or multivariable format, A/B test, on a live site versus a test site. It doesn't really matter, but we're going to actually have case studies there in the featured stories and then the updates, the episodes. So this new one, it says home. It's a placeholder page. I'll actually drop in this video on an embed in there, and that'll be the featured story. Okay, so that's going to be and then we'll have the test will be the next one, and we'll actually just go on and actually start testing these things that other people are calling news, which I don't think anyone else is doing. There's a lot of people that are testing ideas that they get off of the news. No one's publishing them publicly, and so we're going to do that. This website is going to be monetized in 2 ways, and I think this is kind of important too for everyone to understand. 1, I'm going to get it into Google News. I want to have another voice in there than Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal, and SE Roundtable, and Moz to some extent, but those first 3 are the ones that are really in Google News. I'm going to get this website into Google News, and I want it to become just as much of an authority as the other one. So this is a serious play for me. I'm not just doing this to build a website and teach things. I want to establish this website and this brand and this market inside of the SEO space. So I want people to share the articles around and to share their ideas on the website and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm not just building this to be building content. This is a long-term play. So it's going to go into Google News. The articles are going to eventually be monetized. I haven't decided yet on the Ezoic plan or just sticking it into Google AdSense. I'm probably going to go with Google AdSense until it's generating a certain amount of traffic, and then I'll switch over to Ezoic and be able to apply some stuff that we're doing on other people's information websites that are purely monetized with Ezoic. So we'll do that here, just in the SEO space. I don't expect I'm going to get like crazy amounts of income from that, but it'll at least pay for the hosting bills and my monsters that I'm drinking while we're doing the show, that kind of stuff. Right. So that's the monetization piece, or one of them. And the other one is to promote one of my businesses, which is SEO Intelligence Agency. That's where I'm partnered with Dory Friend, and we have the SEO Intelligence Agency, and we do SEO tests, and we publish those. We want to grow that. So we're making decent amount of money right now on that, but we want to grow that in 2022, and SEO this week is part of that. So if you put all that together, I'm actually building a I don't know, for the fact of the better, I'm building an authority site to be a lead gen site for another website. That's kind of how that's going to play out. And we're going to be I'm going to be depending on some different trainings and stuff. I'm looking at some different programs that I want to delve into and expand and just kind of hear their ideas and then turn that on its head and make new ideas for myself. And then you guys get to watch too and see what I did. And then maybe you can look at it from a third party perspective and provide even some more twists to it. And we can do some stuff with that too. So I actually bought a membership to, what is it? I forget the name of it. It's Authority. It's not Authority Hacks. I think it's Authority Builders. What the heck is that? Not Authority Hacker. There's like 4 of them stupid programs, but the one I got is pretty popular. But it's basically authority sites with affiliate. And I'll get the name for you, and we're gonna go through it anyway. We'll go through it together. I got that. We're going to learn some tricks on that and start thinking about affiliate stuff and doing business from that perspective, lead gen. Not going to do any PPL stuff. We're going to learn about on-page and off-page. I'll start showing you some of my link building stuff. I'm not going to show you the stuff that I want to keep for myself. I'm not going to do that. I've always talked about that I'm not going to teach you all link building, but I'll teach you some link building methods that I'm going to do. I'm just going to put all the pieces together for you. You guys kind of have to use your imagination and do that for yourself, which is essentially what I do and my buddies do. And, we use our imagination, come up with things that maybe other people aren't doing, keep it to ourselves and let it work until it just doesn't work no more, and then do some more stuff. Which is a good method for you guys too. So it's at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a great new format for the show. We'll get some learning done. I get to help some people. You get to get your creative juices flowing first thing Monday morning. And then when you talk about the news, and then you can go on, recovering from your weekend and in a good position during the rest of the week. Plan out your week and maybe implement some things, fix some things maybe that I found in the news and stuff that might be affecting you or whatever. So I think that's kind of where it goes. And I hope you all appreciate the new format. Just let me know what you think as we go along with the show. So with that, let's get into the news. First is a new game in town for backlink analysis. I actually wrote this because there's a lot of services out there that are trying to step up their game and couple of those are SEMrush and Link Assistance SEO Spyglass. And what's interesting is how the old players, and the old players being Ahrefs, Moz, and Majestic, have responded to those new encroachments in their marketplace. I would argue that Majestic has done absolutely horrible, responding to and updating to what the rest of the backlink auditor tools have been doing. Excuse me. Yeah, throat tickle. I would argue that Moz had actually taken a concerted effort. It wasn't long after they got rid of RAN that the team over there did some work, increased the value of their API, got that going, and started adding more backlinks into their system, and making that thing a little bit better. And then Ahrefs just completely like, hey, we're not going to rest on our laurels, and they started adding new tools and functions to that whole suite to make that kind of an all-in-one thing and better for the users. So, but SEMrush, I think right now, and SEO Spyglass, which is part of the SEO Power Suite tools, are actually kind of pushing those other two out the back door. I've long been an Ahrefs fan. I actually used to use that almost exclusively until they started dinking around with their DR and how that system works. And what for me, what happened was I just kind of lost the trust in the entire thing. But SEMrush and SEO Power Suite have understood, or seem to have understood, that you need more to do an audit. You're going to need more backlink and a deeper look into it, and plus the ability to combine some other stuff. So SEMrush, obviously, they added Google SEO Search Console. Sorry, and there is a tie-in with Majestic, although I haven't used that as often anymore because their database now on their own is actually pretty big. And then SEO Power Suite with their Spyglass tools even gone beyond that. But those tools together are kind of flip-flop, right? So number of referring domains. If you're a referring domains person and you want to look at your competition from a referring domains perspective, i.e. this page has 10 referring domains, so I need to get at least 11 or 12 to beat them. That kind of philosophy, then SEO Power Suite's SEO Spyglass is actually going to give you a whole lot more information. On the other side of that, if you're doing a link analysis and you want to find as many backlinks as possible, then you have to have an SEMrush account. Personally, I would argue that you need all four of these services. You put them all together and combine them with the Search Console data to make sure that you find all of your backlinks. But at a minimum, you at this point, I think we all need to just go with SEMrush. And if you're just picking one, it's probably should be SEMrush for backlink analysis purposes. All those other tools ignored. So the keyword research, the site explorers, all those other tools ignored. Just the backlinks alone makes SEMrush stand out above the rest when you're looking at it in that way. So if you're doing penalty analysis, you're doing a link analysis, you have to look specifically at the links and clean it up, a link audit, as it were. Then you want to go SEMrush. If you're conducting competition analysis, you probably would want to use SEO Power Suite just to get a better look, but you can certainly combine the two things. SEMrush, I can't import stuff from one service into it, but SEO Power Suite I can. So you can kind of pull all your backlinks with SEMrush and put them all into SEO Power Suite, the SEO Spyglass tool. And do a pretty good job of that. in here in this article, I also leave just kind of a closing thing of which one I think you should choose. I think Spyglass is probably for the money, pound for pound for the money, the better option, because SEMrush is like $300 nowadays. For the option that for the tool that it's like $229. I won't say 300. It's $229. I think is what the number turned out to be. For all of the other tools that you would probably want as an agency owner, it's another 300. So you're looking at $529.99 for the guru level of SEMrush a month. Whereas SEO Spyglass, you pay for that service for it's $6.99 regular price. They offer all kinds of deals and stuff throughout the year if you just hang out, and then another, I think it's $150 for the yearly update service that comes along with this software. And I've been using the whole set for quite some time. It's totally worth it. So if you're on a budget and you want to get as much as you can out of your tools, then probably SEO Spyglass is where you need to be at for the link analysis stuff. Okay. Whew. Next. This is fun. I've been looking at the December product review update. I did a complete analysis of the changes in there. As a matter of fact, I think I can show it to you. I might as well. It'll go along with what we're doing here. Let me change this so that you can't see all my files. Sorry, folks. Anyway, I did an analysis of what exactly is going on currently in the product review space. And basically what I was looking for is creating a trend. No, are common things that you need to optimize for, versus looking at like most people, they'll put it together and say, oh, this change just went up and down. I mean, that's knowing what went up and down is kind of valuable, but at the end of the day, we just need to know where we need to focus, right? So I did a search of 59 locations or 59 product related terms, like best of, best drones, best digital cameras, all that kind of stuff. And I looked at it and I wanted to see, using Cora, what can we see as the trends? What is going on in the search results that we need to focus on more? And number of entities used has been, since that was added into Cora, it's been pretty close to number one across the board. And then you can see backlinks. I mean, you're not going to rank for product reviews right now unless you have backlinks, because the authority sites are in there, and the authority sites are in there because Google wants to remove you as affiliates, and they've really dinked around with this, the search results, and I'll show you that when we get back to that story. And then from there, it's some text stats, more backlink stuff, and then start getting into more of the optimization stuff. I published this for the SIA crowd, so if you want to get these, I'm going to be updating these. I typically want to update these every update, but I think I'm going to start doing these once a month, and just keep doing the runs over and over, and we can watch that and make sure that we're on top of things, whether announced or not. And that's going to be in the SIA membership. So if you want to see this a little bit closer, I did a full webinar on the December core update and the product review update and the local update. You can join the SIA and check that out. So let's get back to this. So the product review update, Google is saying that they actually only release these they'll do it for one language. In our case, they picked on the US. And I've said this before in previous episodes. I said this on SEO Fight Club. It's only to keep the affiliates out of it, so that product owners, the owners themselves, instead of paying for affiliates, will use Google Ads. Because affiliates were getting really good, creating really good content and ranking for it, and people were going to it, and they were making a lot of money, and Google wasn't making a whole lot. So they created a whole bunch of featured snippets. Was, the white hat community loves featured snippets because look, it's showing me off, and it's awesome. So they have a couple featured snippets, and they're thinking about making some more, i.e. the best of list, but I think these are the two that they're going to stick with. So popular products, and then this is the top 24 digital cameras. If you search best digital cameras, this will pop up. And you can see some of the things that it's doing. So first off, the images, those go to another search. So if I searched for best digital cameras, and then I get this widget and I click on Nikon Coolpix, it'll open another Google search for Nikon Coolpix. And in that search, the search results are primarily like Amazon. I think there's a Walmart in there, and then a couple primary sellers. There wasn't I think there may be one or two affiliate sites in there that were offering, that had a piece of content directly related to that product. The e-photos, this content stuff, it's all curated from from an affiliate's website. These are the ones that pass the product review, and so they're just ripped content from those affiliate websites. And then this link right down here at the bottom is totally unrelated. So here's all this content. We're giving this great stuff. Here's the review. And then we put someone else's link in here. And then down here, we're going to take some more of your stuff. And we're not going to kind of do the attribution right. And it is not even clear if PhotoEzine, for example, ePhotozine provided this and this, or did the Wellwire provide this, TechRadar provide this, and these other two sites provided those. That it's not even spelled out. So it's, but these links here go to these sites, and these links here go to those sites. But these links where the primary user is going to click, Nikon Coolpix on PhotoEzine. Let me click that picture, right? Let me click that thing. It'll take you to Google. And this site, who wasn't the featured snippet, actually lost out on affiliate commissions with their own content because Google's taking them completely away from anywhere where ePhotozine is shown and sending them to an exact script of that. The same goes on with this one, except the images themselves. It goes directly to news sites. There's no attribution to where they get the photos. There's no attribution for the reviews. This is all curated from somewhere, but not saying where. And these all go to search results. So that's what's going on with the product review update. They're analyzing the content, deciding what they say is good and bad, looking at niche sites specifically. So a Photoshop site should be reviewing photo products, not reviewing auto care stuff, right? So they want you to niche down in your product stuff. They want you to follow kind of a format thing. If you look at these, you can kind of find the format. And to capture this snippet, and then they want you to work really hard to capture the snippet, and so that they can actually use that content for this. If they're applying, and I think this is part that's really unfair to affiliates, and I haven't verified it yet, but let's say PhotoEzine gets this featured snippet. And if they apply the rule where if you have a featured snippet, we're not going to have you in the search results, that's real crappy of Google. Because now they're using their content to get a click on this image for their search result. And they're eliminating the option whatsoever of this website getting traffic from this search, which I think is just garbage. So that needs to be called out for sure, as far as them. But they're not the only ones that are going after it. Now it's rolling out in Germany. This was a user found it in Germany. But John Mueller did say that they'll just pick certain countries, and that's where they'll release things, and then they may or may not spread that across the others. if they're in the U.S., you can pretty much guarantee that anything that would make them money is going to roll out in the U.S., and then all that other stuff that they're air quotes testing will show up in the other countries like the UK, Canada, Australia, that kind of stuff, before they apply it to the US search results, where it could impact significantly. Testing could impact CTR rates and ad revenue. So that's pretty interesting. So if you're in other countries and you're optimizing for other countries, just understand that you are not immune to the product review update. Soon it will be coming to a search result near you. All right, this is the December 27th, 28th. There was rumblings around that they're doing they're doing a whole nother update, and people were talking about updates in the forums and stuff like that. This is all interesting. I don't think it's new. I like how they talk about how traffic jobs are somehow related to updates. And the reason is, what if there's just a drop in trends, or what if your analytics sucked and now you're inside of a forum complaining about your traffic jobs, when it's actually, in this case, this is a get clicky. I recognize it instantly. So your get clicky code had issues, and so applying traffic drops and then putting that and saying, oh, I have traffic drops, so clearly Google must be doing an update, is not really a smart way, especially if you're a news thing to say. And then number two is these weather things. So Ted Kabitis has a system where he actually monitors the averages of these weather things, and he can kind of guesstimate a little bit more accurately when supposedly the update started and when they finish. And what I think is going on with these things here, and here's the example of Ted Kabitis' last one for the November, December update season. I call it the Black Friday update. They roll out every Black Friday. And you can see the changes in the different reporting things. So in there's Moz, SERPWoo, I think is not SERPWoo, RankZoo. There's a couple different services that have those weather things, right? And he's got those all in there. And then the blue one is his analysis of all those graphs, saying when it really started and when it didn't. Here's what I think is going on with the base of these updates. So the updates come out. So this one here, November, it was pre Black Friday. I called it. I told everyone it was coming, and then all of a sudden, everyone thought they were all geniuses because look, it's weird how they're doing it during Black Friday. When I said in like September or October that it was coming, the Black Friday update always comes. They janky the updates. They put the big websites up on top. They eliminate affiliate commissions, and they increase their opportunity for small businesses to actually buy ads during Black Friday when the updates change, and sends everyone into a panic. And then you have the local update was in here, and the December, I don't even want to call it a December, it was the product review update. It kind of threw up in here, right? So they have these updates, and then all of a sudden in December, or December 24th, 25th, and 26th during the holidays, nothing changed. So what I think what's going on here with these update things and saying that they're going really so long, let's say they do the update on December 1st. It starts propagating out to all of the data centers, and that's where you start seeing these climbs right here. Hopefully you can see my mouse. I don't know if you can see my mouse. I got to hook up my little presentation tool, and this will make this easier. But December 2nd, all the data centers get the update, and then they start processing that update. And they have to process the update, and Google watches, monitors, and checks and sees what happens, and then goes back and fixes it. And you can see that here, like on the 10th, where they probably, in my opinion, they probably went in there and fixed it, and then it had to get propagated again. Things changed, settled down a little bit, and then they were fixing stuff. And then the local update happened and they were doing it again. And then the product review update happened and they were doing it again. And then they went on Christmas break and stopped changing or correcting the errors in their previous updates. So I think that's what's going on the 27th to 28th. We'll see how that carries along throughout the new year, but I almost certainly expect there to be some tweaks into it. I won't say that the updates continue to go. I think they've got all these updates out, and now they want to see, or they wanted to see, what is going on with them and how to make the results a little bit better. Maybe they got some unexpected stuff, etc. So you have to take that into account and look at a grain of salt when you're looking at these SEO weather things. Excuse me. The other thing is Google changes the HTML of the search results all the time, like all the time. And sometimes they're minor changes and sometimes they're actually quite significant. And when they do those, it messes up these rank trackers, which essentially is what all of these are, minus the blue one. These are all rank trackers that are correlating the data and saying, oh, look at this stuff is changing, so ergo there must be an update. And it messes those up. So if you're a Quora user and they do a major one, you can almost see that instantly because Quora won't read, or it used to not read. Now it reads because it's using the API. So we lost that view, but it used to not read the pages. And then when it wasn't reading the pages properly or the search results properly, we knew that Google changed something significant in the HTML stuff. We don't have that with Quora anymore. We do with Quora Lite. So you just kind of run a Quora Lite every day and you'll see if a major HTML change comes. They don't happen that often, but they do a lot of the minor stuff and in the back end. And I think those are screwing with these weather reports and making things look worse than they really are in regards to length. 2 months, I mean, really, it's 2022. I publish something to Facebook, it's there instantly. Google changes something, it goes into the data centers instantly, it's processed, and then it has to be applied to each one of the searches as the users do it, which ergo changes the search result, and it changes the rankings and that goes over the period of time. So if you're checking 1 million keywords, you got to go through there and it's going to analyze and recheck, and it's going to make everything look wonky. And then your checker is not reading the HTML right, so it makes things look wonky, and then it makes us look like we're actually having 2 month updates. I don't think we're having 2 month updates. I think if they say we've published a core update, it's going to take 10 days to roll out, wait the 10 days, do your searches, that's what you're going to be at. It's not going to, and maybe they'll do a correction in there, but after that 10 days, your update is actually done. In reality, the update is actually done probably day one. We're rolling out the update. As users do more searches, that update will be applied to search results, and then we'll see the effect of that in totality across the search results at or around 10 days. That's what I think those announcements really should be. And so if they tell you they're rolling out an update, wait a day or two, then check your rankings, and now you know what your keyword has reacted to that search result. And then monitor that, and you can see the switches that they may or may not make inside of that to mess around with that. So if you get, I don't know, let's say you're really lucky and a change shoots up all your traffic, and then a couple of days later, you notice your traffic all disappears again, that's probably not because of you. It's probably because that change did something unexpected that Google didn't want, and they put it back, so that put your traffic back. And that can happen on the flip side too, where you can be doing great and then you disappear, and just wait for it to come back. And that's where I often tell people, wait. Don't mess around during an update. Just wait, and things will shake themselves out. And we see this in this baseline report. Google doesn't have a limit on HTML pages. This is a good one. And honestly, I don't know why. well, it kind of brings up, like, why do people ask John Mueller questions like this sometimes? And you just want to smack a hoe. You know what I mean? But this one is brought on by another tool. So the Bing Webmaster Tools, if you guys aren't using those, you should dig into those a little bit better. But they do have some reports, and one of them is HTML size too long. And I think that's because Bing is being more open than Google. So HTML size doesn't really have a size limit. You can go as much as you want. You can go crazy mad if you want to. And Google will acknowledge that page is there and that it's fine. However, this is it all is what it seemed like. Google doesn't have an HTML page limit. That's correct. But Google doesn't crawl the entire page, and it will not index the entire page to you. So let's say your HTML page is 30 megabytes. That's the size of your HTML page. The documentation says Google won't deal with it anymore. If it's 30 megabytes, we're out, right? So, and you can do that by loading a whole bunch of videos in there and just doing the entire video files and all that stuff outside of YouTube embeds. I mean, putting that on your own server and stuff, that'll bulk the size of your page up because it's on your server. So ergo it's in that thing. And so you can actually get to 30 megabytes. And what John is saying is that now it's not there. So, but the documentation says it is 30 megabytes. However, there is also a word limit. So Ted Kubitis and Lee Witcher did a test where they put 1 million words on a page. The first 18,000 words or 180,000 words were actually indexed. Everything below that was not. So there is now a word limit. And there is an idea that there might actually be a kilobyte size or a megabytes thing that goes along with that. But to me, I think that's kind of guessing, but it is a word limit. There is also a character limit. So Ted Kubitis did a test and he found that 30,000 characters. After that, any characters below 30,000 are not counted towards the keyword density, ergo the relevancy of the content towards ranking. That one's still got to be fleshed out a little bit more to kind of figure out what that really means and what character means and how Google's using that stuff. But that's really interesting. So no, there's not an HTML size limit. John Mueller was telling the truth about that. However, there are some limits in there that you need to be aware of, especially if you're going to go try to do a super psycho skyscraper article. I mean, I don't know anyone in their right mind that would write 18,000 words unless you're going to do a book. But for a web page, there's no way. No one's going to read it anyway. So it's probably not something that anyone else would use practically. Just know that Google is going to limit some stuff. And so if you have a client or you yourself have this desire to go crazy with your website, you might want to start thinking that through a little bit. This is a good one. Soft 404 errors. All the de-indexing issues that we were all having, all the indexing issues that we're all having, fighting with indexers. I helped the guys over at Omega come up with new ways to index sites. And you have index inject and speed index and Google indexing API and all those tools we had at our disposal, and nothing was getting indexed, or at least it seemed like nothing. I mean, if you were trying to do a mass site, and I don't think that really changed all that much. Depending on the quality of your mass site spins and all that stuff, indexing was pretty much the same, which equals harder. But for normal websites like Digitaleer, I'd publish an article and it would take a week for it to come up. That's ridiculous. And so Google actually didn't really help us out too much with that, but they are working on Search Console. And one of the things in Search Console is a soft 404 error. Now, if you've been around in the PBN space for a long time, they were teaching buy an expired domain, put it up as a PBN, and then you can redirect all the dead pages to the homepage, or you can buy an expired domain and then redirect it to your money site, and all the pages that go along with that will go to your homepage. And what that triggered was, it's called a soft 404 error. That was Google's answer to it. Now, there is another definition here, is a URL that returns a page telling a user that the page does not exist, but also gives a 200 status code. That's what they put in their documentation. That is not entirely true of how that turns out. But they are now picking up or trying to find things that match this definition, and they're doing that with word association. So using text strings to identify those. And in this particular case, the text string was, sorry, we do not deliver to this location. That was in the category thing. Why that was there, I have no idea, but it may have been supposedly a 404 kind of thing in the code. But basically what happens was you fill out the address and it says, no, we don't deliver to this location. And that was sending or changing it and working the way Google perceived it, like a 404 supposedly. And this string was resulting in the soft 404. And the soft 404 was actually resulting in the page being removed from the index. So while that product page was there, it was working because this, sorry, we didn't deliver this location information was actually in the code, not popped up. It was in the HTML. Google went down and saw it. It didn't apply it, didn't activate whatever it did to cause that particular text to show, but Google saw this in the HTML. And so they, as a result, it got all these guys' category pages de-index. He's not the only one that does it. There's a SC Roundtable article. I mean, I think this is like a year old, where that if you put page does not exist 404 inside of someone's comments, Google was de-indexing this. And Google is still to this day have this issue with that happening. Not found, no results. Also in different languages. If you do that inside of someone's comments, like, I don't know, you do like Google Translate and put something in. Let's do it. Google Translate. And let's go English. English to Icelandic. Not found. Google would see the Icelandic inside of your code and then give you a soft 404 error and de-index your page. And it's still happening to this day. You can go into Twitter and do some searches and find a lot of these things that are still being shown and triggered. So that's going to be an interesting test, and I'll see if that's possible. I'll find a couple of link farm sites. I'll probably use Loopline's Scrapebox auto approved list, and find a couple of those link farm sites and drop that in there and see if we can get those pages de-indexed by dropping that I found in there and playing around with the languages and stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty interesting. And since those are junk pages and no one's monitoring them anyway, it's not going to hurt anything. So that's pretty interesting. And with that test will actually be published down here in the featured stories once it's done. And so you guys will all get the benefit of that, and knowing that you can watch the episode, and let's say you see this episode like 3 weeks from now, then more than likely that test will probably be in here already. You can review that, and that works out, and you can see some follow-up stuff. And so we're not saying, oh, I'm just reporting the news like everyone else. Why not just do a newsletter and call it a day, versus doing some tests and actually getting some of that stuff out of there. So that's cool. All right, that's the rest of the news, and I hope you appreciate that. Got 10 minutes left. So basically, just a recap with the SEO This Week site. I did all the the basic stuff. I got to build a couple more templates and fix that post stuff and put some sidebars in there so I can put some ad blocks. But I might do a video on that to carry that off just throughout the week. I'm not entirely sure. I might maybe just wait for next week, and I'll review that with you guys. I want to get into Google Publisher for the Google News stuff. I'm not trying to do a Holly News Network. I'm just doing this one website and getting that in there and make sure that would work. And then we'll talk about the schema stuff that I want to do, and we'll build out the schema using Rankier for this website. And you can see the templates, you can see how Rankier works now, and how I'm going to apply those two pieces, Rankier and SEO, this week together to kind of leverage this as best as we can. Plus, Joe Priest has a new schema tool I want to show you guys that I think is awesome. So that's going to be pretty good. And we'll probably do the schema next week with the news, depending on what's going on with the news. So I think that'll work out for us. Questions. Let's see. Keith, welcome, man. Appreciate you watching SEO video show. Happy New Year. Thank you. Same to you, man. What is the largest size could be Google to index for it? Well, I just told you it's 180,000 words. So whatever that 180,000 words works out into GMB or to megabytes, you can kind of figure that out. 180,000 words based on the way that they did it was 2.5 megabytes, but I know that websites larger than that are indexed. So it was 180,000 words of what they indexed, those words. So if you're looking at wordplay games, they indexed that entire page, but they only ranked that page for the first 180,000 words inside of that page. That's kind of how that all worked out. Everything below it was ignored. It wasn't applied into the search results. So Google didn't acknowledge that those words actually existed anywhere on the web beyond that 180,000 words. Let's see. Any other questions? I don't think so. I think we're all good now. Yep, we're all good. All right, guys and gals. Again, thank you very much. This has been SEO This Week, version 2, episode 1. Hope you like the new format. I'll see you here next Monday. Don't forget to check out the website. See the news, share that with your friends, link drop it in all your favorite groups. All that stuff helps me out, and I appreciate you all. And I will see you next week.